Welcome to Loose Lips, all the things you wanted to say but didn't know how to say it. Today's topic is social media ruining our children? Social media has exploded over the past few years. We have people constantly communicating either through video chat, texting, social media pages. We have followers, bloggers, influencers, etc. There are some that even claim to make this a career and are earning a significant amount of money over the internet just because they are on the internet and have followers. In all of this hype, social media has taken over many of people's daily routines and lives. It is hard not to see someone with a phone glued to themselves or fingers furiously typing away or even taking selfies along their routes. With these type of activities becoming the norm and the explosion it has become, it is of little wonder that our youth has now started to take an interest in the online presence. With little regulation and oversight, it is not at all possible to think that online bullying has also taken not only as a new dimension, but has reached new heights that we as adults did not see in our own youth. Lately, there have been many stories about online bullying and children that have committed suicide due to it. Now, bullying does not just take place in the school halls, it is also taking place in our own homes as well. This raises the question, is social media ruining our children? First and foremost, we all must admit that times have changed. It is rare to find a single income family nowadays. You have both parents' incomes that are needed in order to make ends meet, and that is even for if both parents are together. In today's society, it is not unusual for many children to be left alone for hours at a time, either after school or even during school vacations, so that parents can work to pay bills and accommodate lifestyles. This being the case, children are left alone and need to find things to do. With the vast amount of information that is online, it is not unreasonable to think that children will turn to online devices in order to entertain themselves. There are now many reports coming out on age restrictions for children on social media. Social media has been blamed not only for bullying of children, but has also been blamed for mental health issues, body image, as well as attention disorders. It should be noted that although social media can be used for positive arenas, there are many instances where the opposite is true. Think of all the challenges that have been posted on TikTok and all of the so-called influencers that are on social media. Such challenges and influencers are creating and influencing the youth to do things that are not normal. Many of the influencers that are online are not even honest, and their audience don't see the filters that are used to create the image they are trying to portray. There have been instances where people are posting on weight loss, anorexic behavior, dangerous challenges. These are all things that are available online for anyone to see, and that includes our youth, our impressionable youth. They don't know what they are seeing is wrong or fake or filtered. All they see is that someone else has done something online and they want to try it, and because someone else did it, it must be okay to do. The impact these youth are seeing are being encouraged by likes and followers. They don't have the emotional well-being or even the maturity to see that something is not right and should not be done, or even if it is dangerous. It is one thing to say we can regulate what our children see with locks and screen time and all of that. But let me make clear, Kids will always find a way to see what they want to see, or even what we don't want them to see. Even what we don't want them to see, they are going to see. And these are the things that we have to make sure that we, as the public and as parents and as our community, need to be aware of the circumstances. No matter how many locks or restrictions we place on these devices, it is not going to help. I don't even think it is correct to say it is a parenting problem either. The days of kids playing outside are long gone. Kids are now being entertained through video games, internet, social media. It is not enough for us to say kids will be kids anymore because it has gotten to the point where kids are brutal these days. Congress has taken notice, but in my eyes, it is too little too late. With all of the back and forth they will do in terms of trying to regulate social media, more kids will die, more kids will be depressed, more kids will be bullied, and our next generation is going to fall apart. Even in schools, we are now teaching on the internet. We are now teaching online. It is unreasonable to think that this generation has not figured out a way around the locks, around the permissions, and around the VPNs. I don't even think it is enough to blame or look at the pandemic when kids were isolated for 2 years to even state that kids have more problems now due to the pandemic and due to a lack of socialization. I do think that the pandemic only highlighted what was there all along. But since most adults are so busy in their lives trying to make ends meet, there was little concern with what the children were doing. They went to school, parents went to work, parents come home, kids do homework, and the cycle continues. I think we as a nation always had this problem, but it was covered and was not in the media attention so much because there were other things to worry about and it was not a major factor. I will say, since the pandemic, with kids being home, with kids not having any socialization and turning to social media, highlighted the problems that are going on with our youth, whether it is boredom, bullying, inappropriate content, whatever. Eyes are open now that we have a mental health crisis, and it is not just with our youth, but it is the youth that are catching our attention because of the vast numbers and cases that are occurring now. Psychologically and emotionally, the youth is not prepared or even mature enough to be on the internet. And social media sites, as much as they are using now, there is scientific evidence that the brain in developing stages, as with our youth, is emotionally vulnerable until a certain age. This being the case, as our younger and younger generation turn to social media and utilize social media, their views and ideas are distorted by what they are seeing. Screen time should not be just limited, it should be banned for certain age groups. Maybe if there were limitations put in place, youth would not have such illusions about body images. Maybe anxiety and depression would lift. Maybe the youth would become more active, learn to be more creative, or seek outside activities instead of what is seen on a screen. The youth is not in the mindset or even has the maturity to understand what is reality and what is fantasy when using social media or even the internet. I in no way think there is an easy solution to the dilemma that is facing society today, but I do think that there should be action taken now, not waiting for government to pass laws of restriction, not waiting for schools or teachers to restrict more access. I think the easiest solution is to have companies take an active interest in who is on their sites and what their sites are providing. This is also not an easy alternative as companies are in business with revenue. It is not a solution to say, okay, we can have age restrictions. The youth know how to get around these restrictions. It is not a solution to say, okay, we will ban such and such sites because there was always the dark web. It is not a solution to say parents need to parent more and be more responsible because kids are going to find a way to see and do what they want to do. I think, in light of everything that is going on in the world today with mental health, bullying, anxiety, image distortion, challenges, collectively and as a unit, everyone must and needs to work together in order to come up with a solution. Start teaching kids in school and at a young age right from wrong. Go back to the basics. Teach about the effects and types of bullying. Bring into force the zero tolerance policy. Showcase different types of mental health and learn ways to recognize when there is trouble. We can no longer sit back and say it doesn't affect me or it is not in my backyard, because the simple truth is we don't know that until it is too late. How many kids are going to have to commit suicide due to online bullying before we place a stop to it? How many more kids are going to have to go through school shootings before we say, we should have recognized the sign when that kid was in school? How many times are we going to say, these challenges are dangerous and kids are dying? It's time we deal with the youth before it gets to this point. I know and understand that the teachers have a lot to deal with, and they aren't there to parent or be a psychologist to the children. But maybe the solution is to instill mandatory group sessions as part of the curriculum now in schools. Maybe when kids are acting out, we should bring back schools where kids are given alternative educations. I understand that everyone is entitled to an education, but if a child is acting out, bullying, getting suspended, getting expelled, etc., then there is something else going on with that child that should not be in the average population. Pull those children, place them in special schools, and deal with the issue. Those parents may not think it is fair, but there are many times when parents don't believe that there is anything wrong with their children when there are needs that need to be addressed. There is a saying that it takes a village to raise a child, and it may be time that everyone takes part in figuring out what is going on with our youth. It is not enough to say that social media is only to blame. Although social media may have some aspect of it, social media is not the cause of it. It is time to take the time to spend and adjust what children need for today. We are in an age when parents are working like crazy, traveling like crazy to and from work to make ends meet. Sometimes one job is not enough, and they may have multiple jobs. Kids may feel lonely. Kids may feel the need to lash out. Kids may feel the need for attention. Whatever it is, we must remember that they aren't adults. They are kids and need help. Whether their help is in the form of emotional or mental, we all need to do our part. Today, too many people may be scared to do much because they are afraid they will get into trouble with the authorities. Is it better to pay attention or is it better to look away? Needless of what your personal opinions are on this subject, the youth are obviously crying out for help, and no one is either hearing or listening to them. It is time for us to wake up and listen to their call. That topic is not going to go away. It is only going to get worse. It is only going to get worse. It is time for us to wake up and listen to their call. And we as a nation need to address it while in the infancy stage. We can possibly prevent the youth from growing into the type of person that has mental issues as an adult, and at which it is a lot different to not only handle, but is also looked at a lot differently within the public. As a youth, there is still our responsibility. As an adult, you are on your own. Which side would you rather be on? Thank you for listening to Loose Lips, and until the next time.